What's up, YouTube? This is Fragments of Memory. Hey, Testizel, Ghetto Cyrano. I got your vid entitled Self-Hating Black Women Flaunting Biracial Children. Now, here's my perspective because I looked at your vid and I took some notes. Um, I don't necessarily see interracial relationships in and of themselves as being an act of self-hate. Now, is it possible that there are black women that engage in interracial relationships simply for the fact of trying to increase their status in certain situations, or that they might have some issue with their blackness? I can concede that that may be a fact. We in this country have been bombarded with images of black equals bad, white equals good. And again, not trying to play the I hate white people or down with the white man or the white devil card here. I just want to point out that in America, when you look at the magazine racks, the dominant culture is the white people, the white culture. This country was founded by white people. This system is controlled by white people, even though there is a black man in the White House. Well, even then, he's half white because his mother is a white woman. He came from a white woman's womb. So, I mean, he's partially black then. Um, but I would say in some cases where a woman engages in interracial relationships, it's genuine attraction. I found women of every color of the rainbow attractive. I found Mexican women, Latino women attractive. I found black women attractive. I found Hispanic women. I found Indian women attractive. I found Arab women attractive. I found women of from China and Japan attractive. So I can't I can't really see where the self hatred will go. But then actually there is something I do remember. I do know of a woman who seemed to only a black woman, dark skinned woman. She had very lovely dark skin. Her tendencies tended to be white guys, and she has a biracial daughter. Now, blackness always seems to be equated with darkness and evil and that which is horrible. Well, again, I go back to the magazine racks. I go back to the fact that, generally speaking, there are no black superheroes. And growing up as a young man, if my mother got me a toy of a white action figure, she tried to find a black equivalent to say, hey, we need to see ourselves in positive things. We need to see ourselves being represented. And I think the mistake we have is we assume black only deals with crime and buffoonery and that's it. When again, I think black people from all over the world, we are a mosaic. We're not a monolith. We are many things. We are not just one thing, and it's not negative. I believe there's a great deal of shadeism and colorism in this country. This has been started since the advent of the slave trade. So, do I think there are people that purposely go out here and do that? That have sex with white people or someone of another nationality so that they can have lighter children? Sort of like a selective natural selection, selective breeding process. I'm sure that that's a reality, but I don't think I truly see that as being epidemic per se. It happens, and everyone has their colorism and shadeism. I don't think people think that calculated enough that I'm going to go and be with someone for the color of their skin so I can have certain types of children. Maybe being with that person of another race affords them some status or some illusion of status, i.e., if I'm with a white guy, he might have better economic opportunities that a black guy might not have. Or if I'm with an Arab guy, I might not have to deal with the realities that are facing the black community. And too often, I think we as blacks do see each other in a negative light. And I'll admit in my own personal life where if I see a brother walking down the street, I'm a little bit more on guard than if I see a white guy walking down the street. And that is unfortunate. I'm not saying I'm going to try to get a mixed baby because I think that's going to be better, but I do find that I am a little more guarded around my own black people and less guarded around whites. Um, I do think it is a shame that someone would try to vicariously live through their children. Hey, if it didn't happen for me, it can happen for me through my children. In some way, I'll feel good about myself. Well, no, you got to feel good about yourself, period. Well, you're really hitting it in there, Mr. Testizel, I got to say. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I guess I can see where you're coming from, but I don't necessarily think I've experienced it. I don't think I have a strong enough opinion to say it's an epidemic. But that is an interesting perspective. That's an interesting facet of dealing with race and race relations. Again, we live in a white dominant culture. This is dominance privilege. The dominant group has the privilege to do what they have to do. The dominant culture doesn't have to worry about certain things that, let's say, the not so dominant culture, i.e., blacks and other minorities, have to worry about. And especially with us, we don't have our foundation, like the family structure is not there. So our foundation isn't together. So, of course, we got to compensate. And we don't have that strong family unit and culture and community to reinforce and say, hey, look, we're just as valuable. I think the Chinese do it, the Latinas do it, the Arabs do it. Every other ethnicity or ethnic group does it. We as blacks don't. We're told we're all Americans. Let's all just assimilate together, when that may not necessarily be, though a great idea, it's not necessarily truly 100% realistic. Because number one, I've said this in an earlier video, probably a year ago. I said, we're not going to be a 100% colorblind society. I mean, in an ideal world, that'd be great. And we could all get along and nobody's past baggage or cultural luggage is going to get in the way. And that'd be fine. But that's not reality. The reality is that there is cultural and historical baggage that comes with a certain ethnic group. The Irish, the Jews, the Italians, if you're black, especially a American-born, American-educated black person living here in the United States of America, as opposed to being a black person that's from Nigeria or Ghana or Ethiopia. So I'll say thank you for sharing this vid with me, and here's my sort of 2 cents to your vid. Take care.